On Halloween night, when the air grows colder and the veil between the living and the dead becomes thin, the world remembers its darkest stories. They are whispered around campfires, repeated in hushed tones at sleepovers, and brought back to life every October 31st. These are not just tales to entertain children, they are urban legends, warnings woven into horror, stories so deeply rooted in fear that they continue to haunt us even today. But before we begin, let me ask you something. Do you believe these are only stories? Or do you suspect deep down that legends live because somewhere, sometime, someone experienced them? If you want to keep the shadows at bay, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with those who think Halloween is just costumes and candy. Because tonight, we are venturing into the cursed folklore that refuses to die. The legend of the Hook is perhaps one of the most retold tales on Halloween, and it always begins with the same setting. A young couple parked on a lonely road, the glow of the moon spilling over their car, unaware that danger lurks nearby. As they whisper to each other in the dark, a radio crackles with the news of a violent escape from a local asylum. A killer, armed with a steel hook in place of a hand, is said to be wandering the woods, looking for his next victim. The girl becomes uneasy, urging her boyfriend to leave, but he hesitates, dismissing her fear as childish. Yet the moment the car engine roars to life, there comes the sound, a scraping noise, sharp metal dragging across steel. And when the boy finally drives away and opens his door at home, there it is, a hook still lodged in the handle. Some say the legend was born in the 1950s as a cautionary tale about teenage recklessness. Others insist that the story is older, tied to real disappearances. But on Halloween, when shadows stretch long and every noise outside feels amplified, the hook becomes more than a warning. It becomes a reminder that evil doesn't always knock. Sometimes it scratches its way in. Another story that clings to Halloween like a parasite is The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. It is a story parents use to terrify their children, and a story that children pass down to terrify each other. It begins with an ordinary night. A teenage babysitter, tasked with watching children already asleep, settles into the living room. The clock ticks softly. The house seems still. Then the phone rings. She answers, only to hear a stranger's voice. "Have you checked the children?" Nervous laughter follows as she hangs up, thinking it's a prank. But the phone rings again and again, the same question, each time with more menace. Fear creeps in until she finally calls the police, who trace the line. Their command is urgent, nearly a scream. "Get out of the house now, the call is coming from inside." The legend plays on primal fear, the violation of safety, the intrusion into a space we believe is secure. It has echoes in real crimes, which makes it even more terrifying. On Halloween, when children roam in costumes and babysitters are left behind in creaking houses, the tale takes on a sharper edge. For even now, every creak of the stairs could be footsteps, every shadow could be something watching from the dark. But not all legends keep their terror within homes. Some spill out into the streets, where trick-or-treaters wander. Perhaps the most chilling is the legend of poisoned candy. Every Halloween, whispers circulate that strangers lace chocolates with cyanide or hide razor blades inside apples. Parents warn children not to eat anything until it has been inspected. The fear became widespread in the 1970s, fueled by real incidents of tampered candy. Though most cases turned out to be hoaxes or isolated crimes, the story refuses to die. It feeds on the one night when children accept food from strangers. Imagine a child reaching into a basket, pulling out a candy bar, unaware that hidden inside could be something lethal. The legend endures because it strikes at innocence. And while the statistics prove such events are rare, the paranoia has embedded itself in Halloween forever. Every bite of candy carries a sliver of fear, a taste of the unknown. The next legend comes from the back roads of America, where asphalt disappears into shadow and headlights reveal only fragments of the night. They call her the Vanishing Hitchhiker. The story always starts the same. A driver, late at night, sees a young woman standing by the road. She looks lost, pale, sometimes wearing old-fashioned clothes. Compassion wins, and the driver pulls over, offering her a ride. She thanks him softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Directions are given. The ride continues, and then, without warning, she is gone. The seat is empty, the car door never opened. When the driver arrives at the address she gave, the family answers with solemn faces. Their daughter died years ago, killed on that very stretch of road. The legend is so widespread it exists in nearly every culture. And on Halloween night, when spirits are believed to walk freely, drivers report more sightings than ever. Is it just imagination? Or is it proof that some souls never left the roads where they perished? Of course, not all urban legends wear the face of a stranger. Some legends are born from the cruelty we humans inflict upon each other. The story of Bloody Mary is one of the most famous, simple in ritual, chilling in execution. Children dare each other to stand before a mirror in the dark, say her name 3 times and wait. Some say she appears as a pale woman dripping with blood, her eyes hollow, her scream deafening. Others say she reaches through the glass, dragging the summoner into her world. The legend has roots in old folklore, tied to fears of spirits in reflective surfaces, but its endurance comes from the courage it demands. Every child who tries the ritual swears they felt something, a flicker of movement, a whisper, a sudden chill. On Halloween, the dare resurfaces in schools and sleepovers, each generation tempting the mirror, each generation adding fuel to the fire of belief. What makes it worse is the thought that perhaps mirrors really are doors, thin sheets separating us from something desperate to cross over. Then there is the story of the killer in the back seat, a legend so unnerving it transformed driving at night into a paranoid act. It begins with a woman alone in her car, heading home, after work or a night out. She notices another car behind her, flashing its high beams repeatedly, sometimes tailgating. Panic rises as she tries to escape, thinking the driver wants to harm her. Finally, she pulls into a gas station or a police station, only to discover the truth. The other driver was trying to save her. A murderer was hiding in her back seat, rising up with a knife each time the headlights revealed his silhouette. The rescuer's lights were the only thing keeping the killer from striking. Halloween amplifies this story because it thrives on isolation, on the fear of traveling through darkness alone. Even today, people glance at their back seats before driving away. And on October 31st, the simple act of looking could save your life. Some legends crawl deeper, into the places we rarely think about but always fear. The sewer, the basement, the places beneath our feet. The story of alligators in the sewers of New York is one such tale, absurd on the surface, terrifying in its implication. They say people once bought baby alligators as pets, only to flush them when they grew too large. In the darkness of the sewer, they adapted, grew massive, and began to thrive. On Halloween, when children vanish or animals go missing, whispers rise that something reptilian, ancient, and hungry stalks below. While the story may be dismissed as myth, its persistence is telling. Because what do we truly know about the dark tunnels beneath cities? What lives there, unseen, waiting? For a night when fear blinds reason? Halloween also revives the legend of black-eyed children. They appear at night, knocking on doors, asking to be let inside. Their voices are soft, polite, almost mechanical. At first they seem harmless, children lost or in need of help. But then comes the detail no one can ignore. Their eyes are entirely black, pools of endless night. Witnesses claim that when they refused entry, the children became insistent, their knocking louder, their tone more demanding. Those who allowed them in were never seen again. Some believe they are demons, others that they are spirits trapped between worlds. On Halloween, when children in costumes flood the streets, the story becomes even more chilling. For among the masks, who can tell which eyes are real? And then, there is the legend of the clown sightings, a story that resurfaces every few years, especially around October. Reports come in of clowns lurking near woods, hiding behind street lamps, or silently standing outside homes. They do not speak, they rarely move, but their presence alone is enough to trigger primal fear. Some say it is only pranksters, others whisper it is something darker, a manifestation of chaos. On Halloween, when costumes blur the line between playful and terrifying, clowns become the perfect mask for whatever hides beneath. And the thought that one of them may not be human, that thought lingers long after the pumpkin lights burn out. These are only the first of the many urban legends that wrap their icy fingers around Halloween night. They thrive because they prey on what we most fear: the violation of safety, the corruption of innocence, the invasion of the familiar. But as terrifying as these are, there are more. Stories darker, whispers colder, legends that refuse to remain in the shadows. The echoes of whispered stories linger as Halloween night deepens, and with it, the shadows seem to grow bolder. In the first part of our journey, we uncovered the eerie origins of some of the most chilling urban legends tied to Halloween. But the darkness still holds more secrets, waiting to crawl into the minds of those who dare to listen. The stories that remain are not just entertainment, they are warnings, fragments of collective fears stitched together across generations. And tonight, as the veil between the worlds grows thinner, we dare to step even deeper into the haunted corners of human imagination. One of the most disturbing legends that circulates every Halloween is the story of the Vanishing Hitchhiker. Countless drivers, often traveling down lonely roads on stormy nights, swear to have picked up a young woman dressed in white. Her voice is soft, almost fragile, as she asks for a ride home. The driver obliges, only to arrive at a deserted house or cemetery, where the passenger suddenly disappears from the seat without a sound. Later, when the driver inquires about the woman, they are told the chilling truth. She died many years ago on that very road. The tale varies, sometimes involving a lost soldier, sometimes a grieving bride, but the terror is always the same, a reminder that the road is never truly empty on Halloween night. Then there's the legend of Bloody Mary, a ritual whispered in every schoolyard, daring children to stand before a mirror in the dark and chant her name 3 times. The mirror, once thought to be a simple reflection of the self, transforms into a gateway, and what stares back is not the face of the one who summoned her, but the bloodied figure of a vengeful spirit. Some say she reaches through the glass to drag the victim into her world. Others claim she simply haunts their dreams forever. On Halloween, when courage and fear intermingle, this ritual becomes a test of bravery, though many regret the invitation once it is too late. Equally terrifying is the tale of the Hookman, a story whispered to teenage lovers parked on dark backroads. The narrative always begins with a radio broadcast, warning of an escaped murderer with a hook for a hand. Nervous, the couple debates whether to leave. When they finally drive away, their relief turns to horror as they discover a bloody hook dangling from the car door handle. The message is clear: no place is safe when danger lurks unseen. On Halloween, the Hookman story thrives because it embodies the fear of vulnerability, the dread that someone or something might be watching. Another legend that refuses to die is the tale of the black-eyed children. These figures, appearing as pale, emotionless children with completely black eyes, are said to approach strangers at night, often knocking on doors or asking for rides. Their voices are flat, their movements uncanny, as if rehearsed but not human. Those who let them in are never seen again, swallowed by the unknown horror that lies behind those inhuman eyes. Halloween is their chosen night to walk freely, blending in among trick-or-treaters, making the boundary between harmless fun and true terror almost indistinguishable. And who can forget the chilling whispers of the clown in the shadows? Long before modern reports of sinister clowns terrorized neighborhoods, stories circulated of figures in brightly painted costumes standing silently at the edges of playgrounds or staring from the corners of dimly lit streets. On Halloween, when clowns are everywhere, the line between costume and predator becomes dangerously blurred. Parents warn their children to stay away from strange clowns, but the fear remains. What if the mask hides something that isn't human at all? The urban legends of Halloween are not merely tales. They are mirrors of our deepest fears: fear of the dark, of strangers, of betrayal, of death itself. Each retelling feeds the cycle, ensuring these legends live on just as the flickering jack-o'-lanterns continue to guard doorsteps against wandering spirits. But what if these stories are more than legends? What if each one carries a grain of truth, a spark of reality buried beneath layers of imagination? Consider the reports that surface year after year of people seeing a figure in their back seat while driving alone, only for it to vanish when they look again. Or the unexplained scratching on windows late at night, resembling the sound of a hook scraping against glass. Or the chilling accounts of individuals waking up from nightmares, only to find a faint outline of a child standing at the foot of their bed, eyes darker than the night itself. These are not random coincidences, they are patterns, and Halloween, with its thin veil between the living and the dead, seems to amplify them. As we close our descent into the heart of Halloween's urban legends, we are left with a lingering unease. The stories we tell to frighten each other might actually serve a deeper purpose, to remind us of the fragility of our safety, the vulnerability of our existence, and the reality that the unknown is never far away. When you walk down a dimly lit street this Halloween, when you pass a mirror in the dark, or when you see a stranger in costume staring just a little too long, ask yourself, is it just a legend, or is it something waiting to become your reality? So lock your doors, keep your lights on, and listen closely to the silence. Because on Halloween, legends are not just stories, they are warnings, and sometimes the warnings come too late.